So I'm here in Montecito, California, at the beach. And if I was in LA, I wouldn't be able to be out here. So at least, it's past 6 p.m. and there's no curfew here. So I'm out here on the beach. Unfortunately, the tide looks really high and there's like no room to walk here. Look at that. So I think I'll just stay here for a while and just talk, not walk as much, walk a little. Yeah, that's really high tide. Yeah, in Los Angeles, California, right now there's a curfew. And in Santa Monica, the curfew was 1 p.m. Now, I don't like the idea of curfew at all. I don't need government or anyone else telling me where I can go and what time I need to be indoors or on my property. Got a big problem with that. So, not a fan of curfew. So much to talk about. The last time I made a video like this was in mid-March. Whoa! Almost got wet there. Last time I made a video was mid-March, and it was all about COVID and our voluntary lockdown. And now it's something else. Now it's something else. What is it? Oh my God, I'm gonna get... Excuse me. And now it's about the National Guard entering our cities and potentially the military entering our cities. Isn't that interesting? I never thought I would see that. On Monday, I went to Santa Monica and was horrified to see the state that my city was left in. I mean, the whole place had been looted, all the stores pretty much. A couple survived, a lot of fires. I heard there were 9. Yeah, that was something I never thought I'd see. Santa Monica looted. So let's back up a little and talk about what happened. And just the whole thought of a nation and a world on pause where everything we knew as normal changed very quickly. And we were all locked inside our homes. And everyone was afraid of getting this illness. Well, just when that ended, what do we have now? We have something new. And the timing seems really suspicious. And we went through 3 months of being locked down because of COVID, and now we're locked down because of martial law. Wow. I mean, all in the same year, right after each other. So what happened? Well, COVID is pretty much kind of not even a thing anymore, really. I mean, there's nothing really to say anymore. It's a horrible illness. We hope we don't get it. It's contagious, but probably not as contagious as everyone thought it was. And the reaction to wearing masks and wearing gloves and hand sanitizer and washing hands was all probably an overreaction. Not sure why, but that's how it went down. And now we have this. And what happened? We had a black man get murdered by a white cop. I am so sure that what happened is not what it seems. Because you look at that video, you hear about what happened, and it's like, okay, he was arrested for passing a counterfeit bill, and he might have resisted arrest. And then a cop put his knee on his neck for over 8 minutes and killed him. That's not what I saw. What I saw is a cop murder a man intentionally, knowing the cameras were on. That is absolutely what I saw, and I have no doubt about it. That was a premeditated murder, and he knew George Floyd. They'd worked together for many years at a nightclub, and he put his knee on his neck, knowing there was a camera there, and kept it there until he was sure he was dead. And the reason why the EMTs that arrived didn't try and resuscitate George Floyd is because he was already dead. So when they say, oh, he died later, I do not believe that. He was dead. We saw him die. He was not moving. He was not breathing. He had no pulse. He was dead. So that cop put him down without mercy. And he knew what he was doing the entire time. And I do not think he was crazy or lost his mind temporarily. I think he was told to do that, and he did do it to someone he knew. If you think about the Rodney King beatings, the cameraman in that was very far away. The cops had no idea that someone was videoing them. That was in 91. There was no phone in every pocket like it is today. And yeah, that was a huge problem. We saw a black man get beaten so badly, and you know, without that video, we never would have known about it. Same with this one, probably. With this one, we wouldn't have known about it either without that video. But this one's different. He knew he was being videoed. He knew it. He knew it. And he kept it up. And the policemen around him, I think they didn't do anything just because they were afraid of him. And they just backed off. Maybe the guy was a big bully and they just couldn't handle trying to challenge him and what he was doing. But I know that's what happened. I feel it. George Floyd was murdered. It was premeditated. This cop has something to do with some bigger plan, which I don't know what it is. But that plan has a lot to do with the civil unrest we're now seeing. So let's talk about that. I am so mixed on how I feel about it. I'm so happy that this was caught on video and that it inspired such an uprising. I'm so sad that George Floyd had to be a martyr for this cause. Many others like him, but we haven't seen any reaction like this. I mean, there's been other reactions and they're deserved. There's so many other people that have suffered at the hands of the police and excessive force and just horrible racism. But the George Floyd one was enough to spark this huge reaction. And I'm happy about that, really. And what I've seen with these protests is amazing. People coming together, all colors, just really united. Cops being understanding of their community and marching with the protesters. Amazing. I love it. I love it. We're also seeing a really dark side, and that is the looting and destruction of private property and the violence that's going along with these protests that have nothing to do with the protests. Nothing. These people causing this, it's Antifa, it's white supremacists, it's also looters who feel like they have nothing to lose by walking into a store and stealing when the cops are busy in other parts of the area and they can't get to them fast enough. So opportunistic. They don't have enough money and maybe they think, oh, I can sell these shoes and make some money. I don't know. But it's all started by some other plan, whether it's Antifa. Antifa's part of it. And you know, it just really reminds me of things in the Middle East where you have all these different factions at play and the wars are so complicated. It's not like it's a nation state at war like the way things have been in the world before, where you have a government-sponsored war. In the Middle East, in Syria and Iraq, you had all these different factions of religions and all fighting with each other. There's no uniform. We're seeing that now in the US. We're seeing it right now with this. And it's very disturbing. And what's the response? The response is shut it down, bring the National Guard and the military. And wow, it's I never thought I'd see this. I imagined it, but I never thought I'd really see it. When I saw those National Guard posted up in Santa Monica, I got the chills. I really was sad for our country. Yeah, why did that happen? It didn't have to happen that way. So there is something bigger going on here, and I do think we're going to find out in the next few months. I think so. I hope so. This is going to be a really, really interesting summer. A really challenging time for a lot of people. I feel really empathetic towards these small businesses that just got ransacked by the economics of COVID, the unemployment, having to close forcibly, and then just when things are about to reopen, they get looted and burned down. And how to recover from that, that's going to take years, if not decades. And it's going to ruin a lot of people's happiness and harmony. And it didn't have to happen this way. So what's the solution? The solution is we have to employ the golden rule at all times. And that means cops, and that means protesters, and that means an understanding of how others are in any given situation and how you would like to be treated. I saw this video this morning of a white member of the press on his stomach with his hands up, telling the police he's press, and one of the policemen walked by and just sprayed him with, I guess, a tear gas type of spray right in his face.
I am press. Please.
Just want us to
Stay here.
stay here. Are you all right?
And they just jumped out of the cars.
For no reason, just because he could. And when I saw that, I thought, wow, how could the only reason he did that is because he was with all his cop buddies and he had a suit of armor on. Can you imagine if those two, the member of the press and that policeman, were in a room together saying the same things, or would he have sprayed him right in his face with tear gas? Of course not. So why did he do it? He did it because he was enabled. He did it because he was enabled. He was enabled by the gang mentality of the police marching down the street with armor. And there's something so fundamentally wrong with that mindset, to be wrapped up in that mentality and feel like you're empowered to do that. So I hope that cop and any other cop who treats a protester or a member of the press that way, I hope justice does happen and that they learn something from this. I was horrified, and that's just one story. I mean, there are hundreds and maybe thousands of stories just like that. If I were to call out every one, I mean, this video would be like 20 hours long to talk about each single incident. But that one, was just one I stumbled across this morning. So, and then also in Santa Monica on Monday when I was there, this girl got out of her car and took a picture pretending to help board up a shop. And then, it turns out she's an influencer on Instagram, and she just jumped out of her car, took the photo op, and went back in her car. And I'll play the video.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really. Lol. Boyfriends of Instagram. Good job, guys. BLM.
Yeah, so there's no need to public shame her at this point. It's already been done. Everyone knows her name. And, I think it's a kind of funny story, because I think now that she got caught doing that and she was publicly shamed, I mean, I look at the positive. Maybe she'll realize how silly she's being in her influencer marketing of herself, and she'll change and do something productive with her time and her life. So you know, when these things happen, I try to look at the positive and just know that, you know, that probably is super embarrassing for her, and she feels, she wishes that didn't happen and she could continue what she was doing, I guess, but maybe in a strange way, that was what was meant to happen with her. And someday, years from now, she'll do something really, really good that she wouldn't have done had she stayed on that same path of, you know, faking her life with, you know, in the quest of likes. So that's the way I look at that. Let's go back to Antifa for a second. There's also news stories coming out now where bricks have been dropped off at protest areas and people are kind of encouraging the looting and the rioting. That is not what protesting's about at all. That's not what peaceful protest, that is not a Black Lives Matter organization leaving bricks so that they can just tear down a city. That is not who laid those bricks. Those bricks were laid by Antifa or some other group to cause chaos, to cause division. That's the goal, is to cause division with all of us. That's the goal.
This right here,
Yeah, they put them there
this
on
the
purpose.
setup.
They put them there on purpose,
Y'all know where
bro.
we at.
They gonna set them hoes right up on the route of.
Y'all know what building this is
Come
right
on
here.
now.
I ain't even gonna say what name it is.
Hey, where do them bricks go to? Where do them
This
bricks
is
go
setup.
to? Where do them bricks
We
go
gotta
to?
do better.
Ain't no damn
Gotta
construction.
do better.
Ain't no damn construction around here.
I see.
Ain't no damn construction around here. You just gonna set a pallet of bricks right there. Oh, okay.
Listen, I did jury duty 3 months ago. Y'all don't keep no bricks right there. Do better.
And at first, I mean, I thought it was COVID that was doing it, you know, just having people locked in their houses and paranoid, pitting people against each other. I don't think the world did come together that well in COVID, unfortunately. I think people are just trying to survive is what was happening. I mean, I talked about this in my last video, just the hoarding of merchandise. I mean, that shows how scared people are and fearful of the unknown. So this is worse than COVID as far as that goes. This is playing into everyone's fears. And I'm really concerned that it's going to make racism worse for a lot of people. I think they're going to see all the destruction that's been done, and who knows how long this is going to go on, and they're going to blame the wrong people for that. And I hope that stronger voices prevail and show that minorities, specifically Black people, have been taken advantage of for too long, and this is a tipping point, and it is an opportunity for real change. And I do think the good cops out there, the good people of law enforcement will set good examples, and the ones that are willing to push those limits and abuse their power will be so they'll be so disempowered that it will not be acceptable behavior ever again. It will not be acceptable. And I think we're going to see that. So I think there is going to be some good after all this. Let's talk about all lives matter. Of course, all lives matter. That's obvious. And Black people know that too. But it's easy to say that when you're white. It's easy to say all lives matter when you're white. Black Lives Matter is a term because it's a call out. It's basically saying, my life matters. My life matters. And that's why it's a rallying cry. And if you're going to go around saying all lives matter, you are you are dismissing, you're dismissing the concept of that black people have it harder in this country and the rest of the world. And that is not okay. So Black Lives Matter, that is the mantra. That is the mantra. And someday that won't be needed. And all lives will matter, and we won't need these terms. We won't need to say all lives matter. We won't need to say Black Lives Matter, because we will all be one. I am absolutely disappointed in humanity. When I was a kid, I grew up in a neighborhood that had a lot of had a large black community around me. I went to an elementary school which was, I don't know, 40% black, and I didn't even know what black was. I didn't see color at all, and so I grew up just not even really thinking about racism. I thought racism was over. Like, I thought Martin Luther King changed that, the civil rights movement, Lincoln changed that 100 years ago, before that. I mean, I thought that was all over, and I just can't believe that we still have it today. I don't want it. I don't want this world like this. I don't know why this is a thing. And I hope that these younger generations, like my kids are 19 and 15, they don't see race. They don't think about it at all. And I remember how I felt when I was their age. I didn't see it either. I don't know if it's something, I don't see a lot of racist kids these days. I mean, I guess if their parents are outwardly racist, then yeah, they're going to be racist. But I don't see a lot of racist kids. I see a lot of racist young adults and old adults. So I hope this dies out with generation. But man, why does it even need to? We can end it right now. I mean, racism could be over right now if every single person was racist decided to not be racist. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's not ridiculous. Like, just don't fucking be racist. Treat everyone the same. I don't get it. I don't get it because I don't get it because I can't imagine being that way myself. So I don't get how others can be that way. Like, how could you judge someone based on the color of their skin? I mean, that's ridiculous. I just don't understand it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. How is this even a thing? Like, where did it start? You know? Where did it start if you go way, way back to the origins of humans? I mean, when was this? I mean, I just can't understand why today we are not evolved as humans. This is 2020. I mean, look at the technical innovations we have. I mean, 1994 is when the internet boomed. I was 25 years old. And I remember thinking this is going to change everything. And it sure did. And it had a lull in 2000 when the .NET.com bubble burst. And I was a part of that. I was building internet solutions. That was all I did, was build internet solutions back in those years. That's all I do now. That's all I do. I mean, the internet is everything to me. And I mean, I remember just knowing that the internet is this amazing place where we can all communicate with each other, and it's changed everything. And it's changed everything. I mentioned this in the last talk, just how valuable of a tool Twitter is. Just, that's where all the conversation is, Twitter. And then, you know, in 1998, I knew that photo sharing was a big thing, and I knew how important it was. Everyone wants to share photos. I knew it then because I saw how people's face would light up when they would see a photo of themselves in an album. Or in the early days, people were emailing photos to each other, digital photos. And then in 2007, the iPhone came out, and now everyone has a phone in their pocket, and the whole world is transparent. Everyone has a camera. It's shined a light on everything. It's changed the world. And with that, we have this awesome way of communicating with each other and sharing stories and having a conversation. And yet, there's still racism. It has to end. It has to end. When you see someone say all lives matter, you have to call them out and explain to them. You don't have to get angry and and Twitter, if it's someone you know, you need to have a conversation with them. It's a time to educate someone and talk to them, not just respond in a comment and have a war of words where you drop a comment and then have to wait for their response or a text. That is not the way to handle this. You have to speak with someone. So either call them or leave an audio message. I like to do that a lot. Leave an audio message for someone where, it's the modern day version of voicemail, really. It's not much different. But just leave an audio message on over text and just tell them that all lives matter is not okay. You have to just be patient with them and try and have a conversation. I found that way to be the most effective way. It's really important you do it that way and not get triggered. You have to take a breath before you react. So I want to say that I am against violence of any kind, if that's not already obvious, of any kind. I don't even like killing spiders. I try not to. I do my best. So that said, I am thankful for the Second Amendment in this country right now. I really am, because I think about other countries that don't have the right to bear arms, and that is a gateway to tyranny, and we've seen it. And my wife is Persian, and I think about Iran a lot, and the people in Iran are amazing people, and they know what freedom's like because they had it in the 70s until the revolution, and they want it again. They know what freedom is, and they want it, and they can't have it. They can't have it because they don't have any weapons to challenge their government, and they can be oppressed by their government, and they have been for years. They don't want the laws. They don't want what they have there. They don't want, it's not Sharia law, but women have to wear hijabs, and they have all sorts of, you can't drink alcohol. I mean, come on. They don't want that. The Iranian people I know are happy people. They want to live, they want to dance, they want to dress how they want to do what they want. They don't want this oppressive laws and oppressive government. So, and they don't want their country to be the enemy of the US and the enemy of the world. They certainly don't want that. But they can't have a revolution because they have no weapons. So they can't raid the Iranian parliament and overthrow the government. They're unable to because they don't want to be shot down when they do it. They don't want to be slaughtered. And I don't blame them. They can't. They can't sacrifice thousands of people for the greater good. That's a tough thing to ask someone. Okay, let's organize 300,000 people to raid the Capitol and 20,000 of you are going to get killed. They're not going to do that. It's understandable, and they shouldn't need to. So, in our country, we have the Second Amendment, and if we're going to be oppressed by our government, I understand why we need that Second Amendment. And that is a heavy thing for me to say, because I don't want to see a single bullet fired, yet I see how it could happen. So let's go back to what I said earlier and expand on it. The golden rule will prevail, but there's also another rule. I don't know if there's a name for it, but that is to put yourself in the shoes of somebody else. The golden rule is treat others like you'd like to be treated. But how about looking through someone else's eyes? Imagine if you're black and you are looked at with scrutiny for no other reason than your color. Try and do that. When you see someone protesting, ask yourself, why are they there? What are they thinking? How can I help understand them a little more? I think that's really an important lesson to learn, to try and do all the time. To really empathize with someone, you've got to imagine being them. Another example, another way to help understand is imagine if George Floyd was your father or your brother or your friend, and how you would feel if someone did that to your friend or brother or loved one. How would you feel? And if you can do that, then you can open up your heart to your understanding. You have to try to do that. You have to imagine it. And so when you see something like this, you have to try and feel it. And when you can do that, the whole world opens up to you and you have a sense of peace and calm and happiness. I am really trying to do that myself. And no matter what happens, to have a sense of purity and calmness in my heart, that I know everything will be okay. And I'm very, very thankful and have a lot of gratitude for every breath I have, because I'm alive now in this lifetime and I'm here and I'm making this video and you're watching this video and we're alive. And it's amazing to be alive. It's amazing. And it's truly a gift. Every breath and every day and every time you put your head on that pillow and go to sleep and wake up and start a new day, it's an amazing thing to be alive. Because the alternative is you're not here, you're dead. You are not enjoying life in any way. You're somewhere else. And maybe something will happen where you experience something else there. But for right now, if you're alive, that's amazing. It's just wonderful to think about. And if your base needs are met, your base needs, food, clothing, shelter, freedom, I would throw in uncensored internet as a base need, because without uncensored internet, your needs are not being met. That's how important the internet is. So I'm throwing that in as a base need, even though I know probably a lot of people could argue with me and say, oh, well, you could live on the mountains, and if you had food, clothing, and shelter, that's enough. I don't know. I think base need is an internet. At least it is for me. That's something I won't give up easily. So if you have your base needs met, everything else is extra. It really is. So this world we live in, this materialistic world, sure, you can have fun with it and it can bring you something, but it's not really what you need. Like when you're on your deathbed, if you're sick or near death, you're not thinking about things you bought or things you travel that you did or didn't do. You're just clinging to life and just feeling. You're not thinking about anything material. So if you can live your days prior to your deathbed, if you get to have a deathbed and not die instantly, try and realize that in the day-to-day. I keep looking down here because the tide's getting so high that I might not be able to walk out of here so easily. There's like no dry sand right here. Let's give it a try. All right, we're gonna give this a try. All right. Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna get wet. I have more to say. I don't know. I could go on and on. Maybe I'll do another one of these later. We'll see. I'll end up by saying this. Be the change you want to see. There's really something to that. If you're watching this, I don't know. Just try and be a little bit more understanding of other people. Don't be violent, ever, for any reason. I keep coming back to John Lennon's song. You know the one, Imagine. The world is getting divided, and it's intentional. And I'm not sure why. And I hope we find the answer. I hope we do. I'm optimistic. I'm always optimistic. In the meantime, there's a lot of suffering. And a lot of people, in a lot of ways, are martyrs. And that's not fair. That's not fair. Nobody should have to be a martyr. So, yeah, I look forward to seeing the world get better. Because right now, what I'm seeing is suboptimal behavior, and I want humanity to evolve. I really do. I can't imagine it. I really can't imagine it, and I want to see that world. I hope I see it. Till next time, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for understanding. Peace. Love. Goodbye.